If you take the amount of money, the increased cost, plus the increased maintenance, plus the loss, plus the payback, you're talking about probably close to $160,000 to $180,000 impact to the general fund immediately.
I want to tag team on what Gary said. We also are looking at action by the legislature that could reduce the revenues to the city by $207,000 if the property tax issue prevails. We also are looking, we just approved a new park to be developed tonight and new playground equipment to go in, and the maintenance of that park as well as whatever may come from the Joseph Street ball fields. And the prospect of developing this new park, the parkland the city already has that is yet to be developed. So by repaying the Hamilton Fund, I mean, I also hate to see it, reduced so substantially, but I think the obligation to repay it could be injurious to the parks that we would love to see developed as you've approved tonight. Sorry to play council member on you, Tim. So let's see, I saw Walter's hand next. Walter's hand next. Go ahead, Walter.
Regardless of the way the amendment goes and tonight's vote goes, I'm gonna support this $1 million. All I'm saying is, we have an asset. And this group ought to work out a way to keep that asset in place. That's the end of my comment.
Let me call on Walter next.
Gary, what was the amount of the original Hamilton bequest?
Just shy of $8 million.
And what was the price of the Herc?
3.3 according to Don.
Tim, following your reasoning, I think, you would have argued back when they decided to build the Herc that they shouldn't build a $3.3 million Herc. That's taking too much of the corpus. They should build a $1.5 million Herc. And they would have kept the corpus even larger than it was. That makes all the sense in the world, except you would have deprived the children of Moscow of half the square footage of the current Herc.
Maybe.
That's why I think your idea is not a good one. I will not support it, and I'll call the question on the amendment.
He's had a call for the question.
Second the question,
Okay, all right. And
if
so,
that's what we're supposed to do.
yeah, I think so. And then we're going to vote on call for the question, which takes a supermajority, correct?
Correct.
Correct? Okay. The call for the question. You want to
Aye.
vote?
Aye.
Aye.
No.
Did you vote? I
Yeah, I
didn't.
said no. I'm trying to ask a question, but I can't get called on.
You can't, you will.
We're calling the question on your amendment, so we're voting whether we're
The
gonna vote on it.
question is, it's whether or not we're gonna vote on
So do you
it.
want to, are you ready to vote?
Not
Yes
to
or
vote
no?
for it,
You
but
wanna-
But
whether
there's
or not you
already a
wanna vote.
majority over here.
There's
But
already
we
a
need a
majority.
super majority, so, yeah,
Just to vote
Yeah.
on your amendment.
yeah.
So we're gonna, where we are,
Say
is-
yes or no to whether you want to vote or not.
On your
I
amendment.
wanna vote on, I wanna vote on my amendment.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, there's an aye. So, okay, so the motion is, would you like to restate it for the council? That you're supportive of, that you'd like to have the
Your
council
amendment.
commit to repaying the,
Amount taken out of the
not
corpus.
taking out, would you like, I'd like it
The
in your
million or
words.
$1.5 million taken out of the corpus
And you want,
to build the ball fields.
and you want to specify any period of time or anything?
20 years.
Repay it in 20 years. Okay, and that wasn't in his clarified, Sue, you're the seconder?
For that, just, yeah, that's fine, so that we can vote on it.
Okay,
That's
all
fine.
right, anybody,
I
you get the
just had a simple
motion?
question for the maker of the motion. So, clarifying.
Boy.
Can I ask a
Well,
clarifying
A
question?
clarifying question, okay, go ahead.
So
Point
you
of
two
information.
assumed it was general fund.
I'm not sure a call for the question allows him to discuss.
I'm just trying to have a conversation.
But if he doesn't understand the
I'm not
motion,
understanding what the motion is.
the motion, he needs clarification of the
My
motion.
understanding, I'm wondering if Tim has an idea about an individual or individuals that might be interested in
No.
making a
Oh,
contribution.
that's
back.
outside the parameter of what, yeah, we
Because
can,
I'm hearing you to make the assumption that it's general fund. I'm wondering if Tim's ready to write a check.
he didn't.
Or if he knows somebody else that wants to write a check.
You ca- I think
All
just
right,
trying to
on
be
that,
clear about
on
this.
that note, okay,
Wasted that
all
amount
right,
of time.
okay. So,
All right.
we, all right,
Maybe
so,
Gary and I could tag team on
okay,
that one.
with that, we're
$100
ready to
Tim.
vote, we'll start with you, Dan, this is the on repaying.
No,
No.
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 Yes.
Okay. The motion fails, and now
Can tell
we
that.
we can go on to the main motion, okay, which is Dan's to.
Now we can discuss that.
We can discuss that, absolutely. Tom,
So
what do you
how much
think?
are you willing to kick in?
I'm still having a hard time with 1.5 because I feel like what we're doing here is we're not allowing any room for people to come in and say, I want to donate. You know, why are we just automatically giving a contractor, guaranteed profit on this thing? I mean, that's what's in the budget right now. I'm concerned about the way the budget's put together, and I just want to make sure that there's good budgeting with this thing.
Madam Mayor.
And I haven't seen it yet, so I'm just,
Let-
that's my question.
And Les is privy to some of the offers that were out there when I communicated last week, the possibility of some in-kind contributions. I don't know if you saw the latest one that, so, I mean, that's my concern too. We, well, all right. Realistic offers of assistance?
Yeah, there are several possibilities out there, and the mayor's alluded to a couple of them that she's, made some initial contacts. And I think there are probably others out there that are possibilities that, maybe folks that are, own the construction firm that might be interested in participating with some earth moving or, whatever it may be. The concern you're talking about is one that we face on every project that we put out to bid. We publish a budget, right? So a savvy contractor can look at our city budget, it's online, every project has a dollar amount attached to it, right? When if this moves forward as being proposed, what I would anticipate is the school district and the city staff would work on identifying volunteers and folks that are interested in participating in some way that could reduce the overall scope of the construction contract that would ultimately go out to bid. So that would just, in essence, allow the city and the district to bring the project in at a lower cost, and lower, and a benefit to the citizens of the city, and with the potential, frankly, if both bodies approve, to, maybe put in some of those touches that we couldn't do because of lack of funding. I mean, right now, this is all based on an estimate on a plan that from 1999 or thereabouts. We have to get further into the details, and, every time you do that, of course, little things come up. Some things cost more, some cost a little less. So we're early in that process. Just like all projects, we have to work our way through it to determine what the actual, dollars are going to be when we reach the point of going out to bid. Anything we can do along the way to bring in assistance and lower the cost of the construction contract, great. But that's a dilemma we always face when we're setting a budget. And right now, what you're doing is setting a budget.
So less for clarification, though, the school district's estimate that was presented to the city was actually in updated dollars. So although
Yes.
the underlying concept was from 1999, the more recent assessment is in today's dollars. So.
Yeah, and it's true. It's based on today's current dollars, keeping in mind, though, that, I didn't prepare the estimates, so I'm not familiar with all the details of what they put into it, but they're looking in general terms at a layout that was a fairly simplistic drawing. And so there's going to be details within that about, under drain systems and how you build a road section for the parking lot, things like that they may or may not have enough detail to give, as detailed an estimate as you would see later on in a design process. That's my point.
If I may.
Yes, Gary.
One of the things, and Les alluded to this, the estimate that was done on the 1999 plan, the reason that the land group was chosen was because they build ball fields. They put drainage systems in, which was not contemplated in the 1999 plan. We have different soils here. The softball field, I don't believe, has a drainage system, does it, Dwight? I don't believe that it does. There's standing water on that field. Obviously, if it doesn't have the appropriate drainage, it's not going to be able to be used. It seems that the council's concerned that the estimate may not hold up. It may be more, it may be less. It seems to me that, as I think Dan indicated, several of the council has indicated, is that at one time, the council was considering a bond issue of several $1 million for the West Palouse River Drive ball fields. Perhaps to make sure that this is done in an appropriate fashion is to have the council consider what amount of funding they desire to put up. And if there are savings realized, that those savings can be given to both the city and the school district in equal shares, thereby giving each entity incentive to do this as efficiently as possible and maximize the public's volunteer participation. And that may be a proposal that you might at least want to entertain, if money were saved from the city, of course, that would be reduced amounts of the Hamilton Fund. If money were saved on the school district's part, that would allow them additional bond funding to do the repairs on their capital facilities. So it might be something you want to discuss, because this is an issue that, Tom, frankly, as Les said, this estimate, this modern estimate, was done on a 1999 plan. There weren't, probably the $15,000, $20,000 you would spend to have the firm come up, do a survey of the site, review the plan, modernize everything, and give you an estimate that you can then take out to a bond issue or something, if they could even do that.
Okay, the motion on the floor is for Dan's offer of $1 million to $1.5 million. That,
No, it's for up to $1.5 million.
up to, well, I think, didn't you start at a minimum of $1 million?
I mean, we said we would do it, we started with $1 million. We gotta give the school district something to work with, so that they know what they gotta talk about next week, so that they know what question to put out to their patrons as far as a bond election. I think that if somebody's gonna donate time and effort to it, and dollars to it, they're gonna do it. It doesn't matter what we say we're gonna do. People are gonna add to it. And that either, like Gary said, if it comes towards us, it lowers our part. If it goes towards the school district, it lowers their part. So that way, we're paying back our corpus with whatever we're not using. They're putting more urinals at Russell School with the part they're not using, whatever the case may be. I think that we need to get this sucker done. I mean, we've been hashing about this since they started this whole thing back in 2000, and 1999 is this plan. I think it's time to work on it. My kids aren't gonna see the benefit of it, but hopefully somebody's are.
Okay, Wayne, did I see your hand up? No. Okay, any other discussion before voting, Sue?
Right now, as I understand the motion is for $1.5 million for 30 years and 30 years.
25.
Only 25? Oh, okay, I thought you said, okay, only 25. The contingencies that I didn't necessarily see on the Gary's list, was that, that our offer is based on a bond issue being passed.
Yeah, I think that's.
Not a levy, a bond issue being passed. Is that in there? Do I need to put that in the motion?
No, if I may. The requirement in the list is that the school district has to provide the $1.5 million in secure funding. In other words, they have to have it in hand within 6 months after
Okay, and
a
that would-
successful bond election.
And that would preclude a levy. That would have to be a bond.
Well, if the school
Because they
district wanted
couldn't
to
come up
take
with it.
reserve funds and put it up, there certainly could do it that way as
I see.
well.
Okay, so I don't need to add all this, we don't need
No,
to
And if I may
specify that
have
in the motion.
one other comment. If the city is going to put up to $1.5 million, then it seems to me that 30 years is a better number than 25. If $1 million for 25, $1.5 million, seems to me that the public, in order to get back value for its dollar, 30 years doesn't seem unreasonable to me.
Dan, was it 25 in your motion?
I said 25 in the motion. If someone wants to amend it, I'll second that.
I'd like to amend it to,
I'll second
30
your
years.
amendment to
But
30
You
years
moved,
then.
you moved that?
yeah.
Well, question. Can we do it by the motioner and seconder agreeing without having to go through an amendment?
Okay, we'll do that. I'm okay with 30 if you are, Walter.
I'm also agree with 30.